Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Paper Crafting Thursday. I'm Leslie Watkins. I hope everybody's well today. Let me just get my camera set up properly. Whoops. There I am. Hi everybody. So today we're going to be putting together the little journal. And I'm really kind of excited about this. It's going to be really cute. So I've assembled all of the pieces. I'm going to show them to you, give you a quick recap. Then I'm going to show you some heat embossing that I want to include. And then we will put the journal all together. So let's get started. And, oh my goodness, I've lost my, hold on, we gotta get my, oops. All right, we're having a little technology. The camera, there we go. There we go. Okay, there's my surface. For a minute there you had a picture of my ceiling fan. Okay, so let me get all the components out. So once again, we are using the Storybook Friends stamp set, which is part of the Storybook Moments collection, which is a very nice collection. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can look in the description of a previous video to find all the links to these things. And if you're on Facebook, then you will find yesterday's post that will take you right to the where you can shop for the different materials that I've been using. I've got two different examples here of ways that you can create your journal, and this one is a very simple one. Okay, so this is using the cover as the binding media, all right, so that your signatures are actually bound into the cover. And if you're interested in all the measurements and the step-by-step instructions, those are available in a PDF, and I will have more information about that for you in a little bit. But I've decided that for the journal I'm going to be assembling today, I'm going to be using a different kind of binding. So I'm going to give you an alternate, and that's what we're going to work on. But before we get to that, I need to do a little bit of heat embossing. And so the back of the cover right now doesn't have any decoration. So what I want to do is I want to add a little bunny to the back of the cover. And I like this little fellow that's holding up this turnip. I think it's a turnip. You could really turn it into anything you'd like it to be. It could be a carrot, it could be a turnip, it could be a head of garlic. So I'm going to begin by getting that little fellow mounted up. And I believe this is him. All right, and I'm going to need my stamp pad for this. So here's my piercing pad, which is going to give me an extra cushy surface so I get a really nice impression. And then what I'm going to do is grab my heat embossing things. So I've got my embossing buddy here and my Versamark ink, and I might need my tray with my brush, so I'll just grab those things so I have them out. And I might need my These heat embossing tweezers are great. They have a ceramic point, which is very nice, so that they can get quite hot and they're not going to transfer that heat down to the handle. This is part of the set that you can get, which I like very much. This is an accessory for the heat embossing, and I will include that on the materials list so that you can find that easily. Okay, so now you want to make sure which side of the book cover you're stamping on. This is the back. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my little pumice pillow here and remove any static electricity or any oils that could cause the embossing powder to stick to it. And then grab my Versamark ink. I'm just quickly checking my settings here to make sure that you can see and hear me, and that looks pretty good. Hi Ginger. So Ginger's here. How are you today? Alright, so here's my little guy. Now I do have my ribbon closure adhered to the book, so I want to make sure that I put him below the ribbon because I want him to be able to be seen clearly even when the book is closed. And then I'm just going to get that centered like so. Give that a firm stamp. There he is. So you can just sort of make that out. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little gold powder. Now I'm running low on my container here, and I'm doing that purposely because I want to replenish it with fresh powder, but I want to use up what I've got in the box here first. So I'm just putting plenty of powder on there. Give that a little shake. Just wipe away any spots that I don't want the gold to be. Use my brush for this. All right, and then what I particularly like about this little tray is that it has a opening here so that you can just tap your excess powder down to the bottom, and it's going to direct your powder into your container. Now this is particularly useful if you're putting your powder back into one of those tiny jars. I don't really need it for this great big container, but I think you can see how that could be handy. All right, so I think for the minute we can put this aside, and I'm going to be using my heat tool next. So this is my heat tool. It has two settings. I'm going to go ahead and use it on the high setting. It's a little bit noisy, so I'm just going to mute the mic for a minute while I'm doing the heat embossing. Okay, so there's my back cover, and the gold embossed image, of course, is picking up on the beautiful stitching that I have around the edge. I also did some embossing on the spine, okay, and then I added a little bit of gold sponging on the edges. The pink ribbon is one of the components of the Storybook Moments collection, so you can get that when you get the entire collection. Now on the inside covers, you can see that I have the back side of my stitching, so I'm going to want to cover that up, but before I do, I have to do a couple of things. So the way this is going to come together is I've already stitched my folios and signatures into a book spine. This is going to be a hidden spine. All of this information is available on the PDF that has all the measurements and full instructions. I'm not going to go into that all here today because I've got a lot of other things I want to cover with you. But what I do want to do is I want to add a very cute frame on the first page here. So this, let me zoom you in a little bit so you can see better. Okay, so this frame is one of several that come in the dies. So you can see there are 3 different ornate frames, and I just really love this. And what I did was I cut it out of the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. So it's a little bit heavy. It has a bit of a body to it, but I want to make it a little bit stiffer. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. And I'm going to be using a scrap of the crumb cake cardstock. I'm going to grab my die. And then I'm just going to run it through my machine. This is the cut and emboss machine. Just flip that over. And because there are some intricate bits on here, I'm just going to go back through again so it goes under the rollers twice. Okay, so what you get is a little insert, okay, so you can save this. This could be useful. I used the one from the watercolor paper to do a little watercolor, which I'm going to show you in just a second. And then what I'm doing is I'm going to take my crumb cake. Crumb cake refers to the color of the cardstock. Get rid of this. And what I want to do is layer these up so it's just a little bit thicker and makes it a little more raised. And I'm going to stick that together with my multi-purpose liquid glue and get that going. And I'm just going to dot it around this decorative area. Just get all those little end pieces so that it's all stuck down well. Okay, and then taking my watercolor piece and put that right on top. Now, a lot of times we can cut things out to layer them up using our trimmer if it's just a basic shape like a square or a rectangle or whatever. But when you're layering up these ornate shapes like this one, the dies are amazing because they allow you to get a perfect however many layers it is that you need to do. So let me get, where's my trusty bone folder? Here it is. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give that a little bit of a burnish. There we go. Hi Carol, I see Carol's here this morning. The book is very cute and it's about to get cuter yet. So there will also be other videos on decorating the inside of the book coming up very soon. So you want to make sure that you are in the watercolor and Stampin' Up! Paper crafting projects group because a lot of those things are going to be shown in the posts in there. You don't want to miss them. And also you'll be able to see all the different wonderful things that other people create as well. All right, so there's my frame, and that's going to look really cute on the front page of my book here. However, I want to put a little bit of texture and a little bit of and color on here. So to do that, I'm just going to grab a piece of scrap paper. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. So let me get my little pumice pillow out again. Give that a little prep. And now this time I'm going to take the Versamark pad and I'm going to put it directly on my frame. And I also want to get around these edges. Now this Versamark ink is very sticky and it acts as a kind of a glue to get that metallic embossing powder to adhere. So you want to get plenty on there. I'm going to see if I can get on the inside of the frame as well. Alright, so I think that's pretty good. All gooped up there. And going back to my tub. Now this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my frame right in there. Unfortunately, since I've got so little powder in there, I'm going to need to help it along a little bit. So I'm just going to do that. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Make sure I get plenty in those, all the detail at the top. Okay, so there's my frame. I'm going to use my ceramic tweezers and again I'm going to mute the mic so you don't have to listen to the heat tool. Okay, so there's my frame, looking very cute, very sparkly. It has a nice little texture to it, which I like. And it looks like the edges are good. So I think we're ready to go with this. Let me just do a quick cleanup. Okay, and this I can save for something else that could be handy. So the way this is going to come together now is I have my cover here. I've rounded the corners. Okay, I've got my little bunny on the back. This is the top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my signature block and I'm going to glue that into the cover. And the way I'm going to do that is on just these flaps on either side. And I'm going to use plenty of glue for this. And I'm just looking at the comments here. All right. If you have any questions, just let me know. So I'm just going to put plenty of glue, just like that, and on this side as well. And then I'm going to line that up, and I'm just making sure that my fold lines are lined up. Give that a good burnish. Check both ends. It looks good. Looks good. And I'm just going to hold that for a moment till that catches. And as this moves around, you want to keep double checking to make sure that everything is right where you want it. Okay, so while that has a moment to dry, I'm just going to put this aside here. I can see that lifting a little bit, so I just want to make sure that that's well adhered. Okay, now while that's drying, I'm going to get my inside front and back cover pieces. So they look like this. And see if I can find my other piece here. All right, so these mats also have the rounded edges, so you want to make sure that you get everything going the right way, front and back cover. And I've already taken this adorable DSP and I've mounted it onto a contrasting bit of cardstock. This is called Pecan Pie. And I'm going to go ahead and glue these down. Same for the back cover. There we go. And now I'm just going to sandwich that inner spine in between these pieces, and I'm going to make sure I'm using plenty of glue, especially on the inside here towards the gutter, because there's going to be a little bit of stress on that as the book is opened and closed. So I'm using a little more glue than I normally would. All right, and then double checking that I have the front of the book facing front. And this is going to line up with the front edge, just like so. Make sure that that's nice and even. Double check. It looks good. Go to the back, same thing. Plenty of glue along this edge. line that up. Now I want to make sure that while I've got everything lined up exactly where I want to be sure I give it sufficient time to dry properly so that things don't shift. When you have a lot of moving parts like this, you want to keep going back and make sure that everything is right where you want it to be. It's a little bit cool in here today, so the glue is taking a little bit longer to dry than it would if it was really warm. Okay, so now my covers are assembled. So both the front and the back have 5 layers of cardstock. So this is nice and sturdy. Okay, so you've got the mat, the cover itself, the inside cover, and then the mat and the DSP. I'm also going to be adding my artwork to the cover, and this is also matted, and it's on the Fluid 100 paper, which is heavier. So that is a total of 7 layers, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers. So this is going to have a very nice, sturdy cover and should withstand the tests of time. Okay, so you do want to, if you're making a little keepsake, such as I am here, this is something that could be used to hold baby pictures, or it could be a little book that you give to a child who could be a little bit rough and tough on the book, so you want to be able to handle a fair amount of abuse. So you want to make it sturdy and make it so that it will last, because it's also going to have some very nice artwork in it if you follow along with what I have in mind here. So I'm just now very gently, I'm sort of teasing these folds. Okay, so I'm not doing it all at once. I'm just sort of easing into it because we've got a couple of different layers here. We've got the glue, which is still damp on the inside there, and we just want to give it a chance to come together without cracking the paper. Okay, I'm going to wait till the end to put my cover art on there, okay, because while I'm handling the book, I don't want the art to get messed up with any of the glue or oils from my hand, so I'm going to put this aside. And now we're going to go to the inside front cover. Okay, and I have my frame here that I just made with the heat embossing, and I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. And again, I'm just kind of dotting around these ornate areas. I want to make sure that I get a little bit of glue on the tippy points of things so that they don't catch and pull away. Okay, and then my frame. Okay. Now I have a piece of paper towel here. You can use a tissue, and I'm going to blot off any, if I can grab it. There we go. I'm just going to blot off any excess glue. Kind of move that around a little bit. Okay, get it off my hand. All right, and then I want to get this lined up in the center. Hold that in place for a moment. Give that a little press. There we go. All right, now I have my little characters that I was busy painting the other day, actually yesterday. So here they all are, cut out and ready to go. I have to do a little sponging around the edges of this group. But I have this other little bunny that I painted on the insert that popped out of the frame when I originally cut it out of the watercolor paper. So now I'm going to take that and I'm going to go ahead and put that in my frame. I can move that bead of glue down a little bit so that it's a little smoother. I'm getting close to the edge, but not quite to the edge. He's going to go right in here. And now he's slightly recessed down into the frame because I layered that up with that extra layer. And I'm just going to press the edges down in there. There we go. That looks very cute. Just want to make sure that that's nice and smooth. Again to the corners. And there he is. So there's the star of the story, our little bunny friend, and he's in this beautiful heat embossed frame. Okay, we're going to have our cover picture like so. And we're going to have a title, something, we're going to write something, I'm not sure what that is just yet. And then we have all these pages to decorate. Now, I left my binding thread long, so if I want to put some charms on the end of these strings, I can do that. So they're there for now. And then I have, let me just hold this open like so. I have all my little friends here. Now I can take some ink. You remember I painted these with watercolor, and this is an old pad. This is soft suede. It could be anything. It could be any kind of a light brown. So I can take, let's take this little guy here, And all I'm doing is I'm tapping into my ink pad with the dauber, okay, and that's just a little thimble with a sponge on the edge. And I'm just going to go around these edges and knock them down a little bit so that they're not so contrasty with the coloring of the little character. Okay, so I think you can see that. I know it's very tiny, but it just adds a little bit of color around the edge so it doesn't look so cut out. You know, one of the things that happens when you use the dies is that sometimes the edges of the die leaves a gap between the stamped image. And if you just go around with a little bit of ink, it helps to make it a little more finished looking, I think, and I prefer that. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do this to all of my little critters. And then once that's done, they'll be ready to use to decorate the inside of my journal or album, whatever the case may be, however it is that you choose to use your little book. So, so once you've done that, you can take these little things and you can put them in the corners of your page. You can use them as little tucks, so if you want to put a photo in there, you can do that. You can do a little bit of stenciling. I'm going to do a lot more decoration on the inside of this book over the next few videos, so you can follow along. But for now, I think we've gone long enough today, and you can get an idea, pretty good idea, of how this beautiful little book is going to come together. All right, so remember, there's going to be an invitation to the people in my watercolor and Stampin' Up! Paper Crafting Projects group, because we're going to have a live Zoom class where I'm going to give you a quick introduction to watercolor for stampers, so beginning watercolor for stampers. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you're in the group. Just ask to be let in and I will let you in. And also please subscribe to Notes from Dandelion Cottage, because the information will be there as well. And you can subscribe to Notes from Dandelion Cottage. Up above on the Facebook page, there's a button that says sign up, or if you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description. So please do that. Do it now, because this weekend the next issue's going out, and you don't want to miss that special invitation. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you like that. I think this is a really cute project, and it really helps to show off this this beautiful collection of supplies that will help you to create many beautiful projects. So stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and I will see you next time.